When Margaret turned 73, her daughter Sarah noticed something that broke her heart. Margaret, who once walked to the corner store every morning for fresh bread, now asked Sarah to pick up groceries. Margaret, who used to tend her garden for hours, now watched from her kitchen window as weeds slowly claimed her beloved roses. And Margaret, who once walked her golden retriever Max around the neighborhood twice a day, now let Max out into the backyard and called it enough. Sarah thought her mother was simply getting older, accepting the natural rhythm of aging. But what Sarah didn't realize was that each day Margaret walked less. She was moving closer to a silent danger that affects millions of seniors worldwide. If you're over 70, or if you love someone who is, what I'm about to share with you could quite literally save a life. Because the truth is, when we stop walking after 70, we're not just losing our mobility, we're losing our independence, our health, and sometimes our will to live. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why every step matters more than you ever imagined, and what you can do today to protect yourself or someone you love from this hidden threat. Welcome to Wisdom After 70, where we talk honestly and openly about the challenges and gifts that come with this beautiful stage of life. In this video, we're going to explore something that might seem simple on the surface, but runs much deeper than most people realize. We're going to talk about walking, not just as exercise, but as a cornerstone of dignity, independence, and quality of life after 70. If you're watching this, you might be concerned about your own mobility, or perhaps you've noticed changes in a parent or loved one. Maybe you've heard doctors talk about the importance of staying active, but you're not sure exactly why it matters so much, or how to make realistic changes. Whatever brought you here today, I want you to know that you're not alone in this journey. Thousands of families are navigating these same concerns, and there is hope, there is help, and there are practical steps we can take together. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through 7 crucial ways that reduced walking impacts seniors, and more importantly, we're going to talk about gentle, achievable ways to address each one with love and understanding. The first thing we need to understand about walking less after 70 is how it affects what doctors call our cardiovascular health, but what I like to think of as the engine of our life. Your heart, after 70 years of faithful service, still wants to do its job well. It wants to pump blood efficiently, deliver oxygen to every cell in your body, and keep you feeling alive and vibrant. But what happens is when we stop walking regularly, our heart, like any muscle that isn't used, begins to weaken. It's not dramatic at first. You might not notice it when you're sitting in your favorite chair, reading or watching television, but you'll start to notice it when you climb a flight of stairs and feel winded, or when you walk from the parking lot to the store and need to rest. What many families don't realize is that this isn't just about being out of shape. It's about the heart literally losing its ability to efficiently pump blood throughout the body. When we walk regularly, even just a gentle stroll around the block, we're asking our heart to work a little harder, to stay strong, to maintain its capacity. Without that gentle challenge, the heart begins to decondition, and this can lead to increased blood pressure, reduced circulation, and a higher risk of heart disease. If you're noticing that simple activities leave you or your loved one more breathless than they used to, this might be the first sign that walking less is taking its toll. The beautiful thing is that it's never too late to start again. Even adding 5 minutes of gentle walking to your day can begin to strengthen your heart. You don't need to power walk or break any speed records. Your heart just needs to remember what it feels like to work, to pump, to circulate life through your body. The second way that walking less affects us after 70 touches something equally important, but perhaps less obvious: our bone strength and the very foundation that supports us through life. Our bones are remarkable living tissues that respond to the demands we place on them. When we walk regularly, we're sending a message to our bones that says, "Stay strong, we need you." This process, called weight-bearing exercise, actually stimulates our bones to maintain their density and strength. But when we stop walking, when we spend more time sitting and less time moving, our bones begin to lose their density. This condition, called osteoporosis, affects millions of seniors, particularly women, and it's often called the silent disease because you can't feel it happening. You might not know your bones are weakening until you experience a fracture from what seems like a minor fall. I remember speaking with Eleanor, an 80-year-old woman who slipped on a wet bathroom floor, something that might have resulted in nothing more than embarrassment in her younger years, but because her bones had become fragile from years of reduced activity, she suffered a hip fracture that changed her life forever. The tragedy is that much of this bone loss is preventable. When we walk, especially outdoors where we also get vitamin D from sunlight, we're literally building and maintaining the scaffolding that supports our body. Even gentle walking puts just enough stress on our bones to keep them strong. If you've been walking less, if climbing stairs feels more challenging, or if you've had any minor falls that seem to cause more injury than expected, it's time to gently reintroduce walking into your routine. Start slowly, perhaps just to the mailbox and back, but start. Your bones are waiting for the message that they're still needed, still important, still worth maintaining. Now, if you're still with me, and I hope you are, I want you to take a moment to comment the number 1 below. Let me know you're here, that you're learning, that you're taking this journey with me. The third impact of walking less is something that might surprise you because it affects not just our body, but our mind and spirit. When we reduce our walking, we often reduce our exposure to sunlight, fresh air, and the gentle stimulation that comes from being in the world. This can lead to what many seniors experience, but few talk about openly: a gradual withdrawal from life itself. Walking isn't just physical exercise, it's emotional and mental exercise too. When Margaret stopped walking to the corner store, she wasn't just losing physical fitness. She was losing her daily interaction with Mr. Chen, the store owner who always asked about her grandchildren. She was losing her connection to her neighborhood, her sense of being part of a community, her identity as someone who was still actively participating in the world. This social isolation can lead to depression, anxiety, and what psychologists call learned helplessness, a gradual belief that we're less capable than we actually are. I've seen this happen so many times. A senior stops walking because of a minor health concern or fear of falling, and gradually their world becomes smaller and smaller. They stop visiting friends, stop going to church or community events, stop engaging with the world beyond their immediate living space. The mind, deprived of stimulation and social connection, begins to decline. Memory may become fuzzy, decision-making more difficult, and the joy in life seems to fade. But when we start walking again, even in small ways, we begin to reconnect with life. Maybe it's just walking to the end of the driveway to get the mail, but suddenly we notice the changing seasons. We wave to a neighbor, we feel the sun on our face. These small moments of connection can be the beginning of reclaiming not just our physical health, but our emotional well-being too. The fourth way that reduced walking affects us after 70 involves something we might not immediately connect to our feet: our balance and coordination. As we age, the systems in our body that help us maintain balance become less efficient. Our inner ear, which helps us know which way is up, our vision, which helps us navigate obstacles, and our proprioception, which is our body's ability to know where we are in space, all naturally decline with age. But what many people don't realize is walking is one of the best ways to maintain and improve these balance systems. Every time we take a step, we're practicing the complex dance of balance. We're training our brain to coordinate multiple systems, adjust to uneven surfaces, and maintain stability while in motion. When we stop walking regularly, we lose this daily practice, and our balance deteriorates more quickly than it would naturally. This is why many seniors develop what their families call unsteadiness, a cautious, uncertain way of moving that actually increases fall risk rather than decreasing it. I've worked with many families who noticed their loved one becoming more fearful of walking, more hesitant about moving around their own home, more dependent on furniture or walls for support. What starts as a reasonable caution can become a prison of fear. The irony is that the less we walk, the more unsteady we become, and the more unsteady we become, the more we fear walking. It's a cycle that can rob us of our independence and confidence, but this cycle can be broken. Balance can be improved at any age through gentle, consistent practice. Walking, even supported walking with a cane or walker, or even walking while holding on to a sturdy surface, helps retrain our balance systems. If you or someone you love has become more unsteady, more fearful of moving around, it's not necessarily a permanent condition. With patience, support, and gradual practice, balance and confidence can return. The fifth impact of walking less after 70 affects something precious and irreplaceable: our independence and dignity. Independence isn't just about being able to do things for ourselves, it's about maintaining our sense of self, our role in our family and community, our feeling that we still have something valuable to contribute to the world. When we can no longer walk to the places we need to go, when we must depend on others for transportation to the grocery store, the doctor's office, or to visit friends, we begin to lose pieces of our identity. I remember talking with Robert, a 78-year-old man who had been the patriarch of his family, the one everyone turned to for advice and support. When his walking became limited, he slowly stopped attending family gatherings, stopped driving to his weekly coffee meetup with old friends, stopped volunteering at the local food bank where he had served for 15 years. His family thought he was just slowing down naturally, but Robert later told me he felt like he was disappearing, becoming invisible, losing his place in the world. This loss of independence often leads to what I call the burden mindset, when seniors begin to see themselves as burdens to their families rather than beloved members who deserve care and support. They stop asking for rides, stop requesting help with errands, and gradually become more isolated and dependent. The tragedy is that this isn't necessary. With proper support, appropriate mobility aids, and a gradual return to walking, many seniors can reclaim significant independence. It might look different than it did at 50 or 60, but it's still real, meaningful independence. Maybe it means using a rollator to walk to the neighborhood cafe, or taking the senior transport van to the grocery store, or walking with a grandchild to the local park. Independence after 70 isn't about doing everything exactly as we used to. It's about finding new ways to remain connected, contributing, and actively engaged in life. The sixth way that walking less impacts our lives after 70 is perhaps the most complex and emotionally challenging. It affects our family relationships and the people who love us most. When a senior begins walking less, family members often respond with a mixture of concern, fear, and sometimes unconscious enabling. Adult children, motivated by love and worry, may begin doing more and more for their aging parent. They take over grocery shopping, cleaning, errands, and social activities. While this comes from a place of deep love, it can inadvertently accelerate the decline they're trying to prevent. I've seen this pattern countless times. Sarah, worried about her mother Margaret, began stopping by more frequently to help with household tasks. She rearranged Margaret's furniture to make it easier to navigate, brought groceries so Margaret wouldn't have to walk to the store, and even suggested that Margaret might be happier in a smaller, more manageable living space. Each of these actions was motivated by love, but together they were sending Margaret a message that she was no longer capable, no longer independent, no longer the strong woman who had raised a family and managed a household for decades. The result was that Margaret began to see herself through her daughter's worried eyes, began to believe that she truly was frail and dependent. This dynamic can create tension, resentment, and grief on both sides. Adult children feel overwhelmed by increasing responsibilities and guilty about their frustration. Aging parents feel like they're losing their identity and becoming burdens to the people they love most. Meanwhile, the reduced walking continues, and the physical decline accelerates, creating a cycle that becomes harder and harder to break. The key to breaking this cycle is communication, understanding, and a shared commitment to maintaining as much independence as safely possible. This might mean accepting some risk, allowing an aging parent to continue walking to nearby destinations, even if it takes longer or requires occasional assistance. It might mean investing in mobility aids, physical therapy, or home modifications that support continued activity rather than replacing it. Most importantly, it means recognizing that the goal isn't to eliminate all risks from an aging person's life, but to help them live as fully and independently as possible while managing risks appropriately. As we reach the seventh and perhaps most profound impact of walking less after 70, I want to pause and acknowledge the courage it takes to face these realities. Whether you're experiencing these changes yourself or watching them in someone you love, it's not easy. But understanding is the first step toward healing, toward hope, toward reclaiming what might feel lost. The seventh impact is what I call the spiritual cost of immobility. The way that losing our ability to walk freely affects our connection to the world, to nature, to the rhythms of life that have sustained us for 70 years or more. Walking has always been more than transportation for human beings. It's been our way of exploring, discovering, connecting with our environment and ourselves. It's been meditation in motion, prayer in practice, communion with the world around us. When we lose our ability to walk freely, we often lose these deeper connections too. We stop experiencing the changing seasons in the same intimate way. We stop noticing the details of our neighborhood, the way the light changes throughout the day, the sound of children playing, the familiar faces of neighbors working in their gardens. We stop feeling the ground beneath our feet, the wind on our face, the sun warming our shoulders. These losses might seem small compared to the medical concerns we've discussed, but they add up to something profound, a disconnection from the very experiences that make us feel alive, present, and grateful. This is often the moment that families realize the true cost of reduced mobility. It's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about remaining connected to life itself, to the beauty and wonder that exists beyond our walls. I've worked with seniors who described feeling like they were watching life through a window rather than participating in it, observing rather than experiencing, existing rather than living. This spiritual cost is real and valid, and it deserves to be acknowledged and addressed with the same seriousness we give to physical health concerns. But here's what I want you to know, what I want you to hold on to as we begin to wrap up our time together today. It's never too late to take the first step back toward mobility, independence, and connection. Every single step matters, no matter how small, no matter how supported, no matter how different it might look from the walking you did in younger years. If you're 75 and haven't walked more than a few feet in months, a walk to your mailbox is a victory worth celebrating. If you're 82 and need a walker to feel steady, a trip around your building is an achievement that deserves recognition. If you're caring for someone whose walking has declined, every moment you spend encouraging, supporting, and celebrating their mobility is an act of love that makes a difference. The path back to walking doesn't have to be dramatic or overwhelming. It can start with 5 minutes of movement inside your home. It can begin with walking to your front door and back. It can start with accepting help, using mobility aids, or simply committing to move a little bit more each day. The important thing is that it starts, that you take the first step, that you choose movement over stillness, connection over isolation, hope over resignation. As we close today, I want to leave you with this thought. Your body, at 70 or 80 or 90, is still capable of remarkable things. It has carried you through decades of life, love, challenges, and triumphs. It deserves your respect, your care, and your gentle encouragement to keep moving, keep trying, keep participating in the beautiful gift of being alive. Walking less after 70 doesn't have to be a death sentence for your independence, your health, or your joy. It can be the beginning of a new chapter, one where you approach movement with wisdom, patience, and self-compassion. Whether you take that first step today with confidence or uncertainty, with support or independence, with hope or hesitation, what matters is that you take it. Your future self, your family, and everyone who loves you will be grateful that you did. If this message has touched your heart or opened your eyes to something new, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us about your own journey with walking and aging, or share how you're supporting someone you love through these changes. We're all in this together, learning from each other, supporting each other, and discovering that every day we have the choice to take another step toward the life we want to live.